All right, guys, going to be getting into some afternoon bets that we have here. And the reason why I'm doing an afternoon video today and for the third straight day is that the props have gotten better as the day has progressed. I think we'll see. There are a couple of NHL ones that I wanted to call out specifically for you guys. So let's go ahead and get into that. And so we are still seeing some discrepancies across the board for all the sportsbook. I want to point that out. There seems to be some sort of disconnect really the last two nights for NHL purposes. But looking at right now, we got Taylor projection. I just combined projected and projections there. But the number has him projected to be over 1.5 shots on goal at minus 140. Now, if we look across all the sports books, this number is about the same. The plus, it's like plus 110, but the over is about plus 127. Still, we're getting minus 140 on DK Sportsbook, and this is kind of going back to, I like to stick with like one sportsbook as like the one I default to. And so I like the fact that DK Sportsbook is giving us minus 145 for the over to adhere. That is a pretty good number. I don't think he's going to be someone that's going to smash the over. You know, it's either going to be 2 or 1. Okay, pretty much. And for what it's worth, guys, I do have a partnership going with Underdog right now starting today. Okay, the link's going to be in the description below if you guys want to sign up for Underdog and become an Underdog player as well. With that, I'm going to be comparing it a little bit more. So if you sign up $100 match up to $100, 100% match up to $100. I just want to call out that they have it currently projected at 2. And so if we look at Patrick Kane, who's going to be a very similar prop here, they already had that set at 3. And so Patrick Kane is going to be another one as well. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because it would suggest that the number that we are getting here on PrizePicks is going to be a better number, minus 150 there. So that is my long way of saying that, you know, Underdog are currently valuing them probably correctly, whereas PrizePicks is a little bit behind. So this would be, or these would be 2 good props that we're getting. And then a member in the 905 Discord chat called this one out. It's decent as well, minus 140 for Kane. And if we look across all the sports books, they're kind of agreeing with that as well. So minus 140 here. Those are the top 3 current NHL bets that we are getting. And so you could also bet this one over here. So we're getting a good number there. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and get into some NBA bets. And I don't know about you guys, but I was looking at the fantasy score even before like the projections were coming in for my cheat sheet. PJ Washington's just really stood out to me. And if you guys have been watching these videos, you know I've kind of been talking up PJ Washington a decent amount, so this should be no surprise. But really, since Mason Plumlee has been traded, he has stepped up into a bigger role. Now he gets a great matchup against the Spurs. Like, that is intriguing to me. That is a matchup that I want to be chasing. And so if we pull up his prize pick projection, he's actually one of the players that is projected to get over by a decent amount. So that is something there where I just find it interesting. And, you know, minutes-wise, we're hoping that the minutes are going to be there. The game could be a blowout, but we know that this game is going to be a higher scoring game. Okay, the Hornets are projected to win by 7, but also get 125.3 points. I mean, that is very intriguing. We go ahead and scroll down here. We can see very solid fantasy producer as is. We look at his projection 32. We look at his projection based off of his average, based off of his minutes, very solid there as well. So PJ Washington, this just seems like a strange one. And so I don't know if it's, I honestly don't know why we're getting this number. It's strange. I felt like I missed some news or something, but we didn't. Like, it's not like Zach Collins' defense is going to hurt him. And I know we kind of like everyone in this game, but just a strange one there. And for what it's worth, you could go with Zach Collins, run it back there. Like I would say, chances are if Zach Collins is going to continue to get his minutes against Charlotte, he should be able to get the over there. Like the last couple of games, 32, 23, and 35. So as long as the game stays close, I think Zach Collins has a pretty good chance to get the over here as well. So if we pull up some other projections, I don't really want to mess with Cam or Aaron Naismith. I don't want to mess with that. Nick Claxton certainly could get over. Really, this game just needs to stay close, and it's projected to stay close. I think Nick Claxton has a good chance to get over fantasy points there for him as well. We'll pull it up here. The issue is that the matchup is difficult, and I think that's why we're getting the number that we're getting. So we can see, like, based off his average minutes and based off his projected minutes and his average, 41. Like, he's a strong point per minute player, but given the matchup, we are seeing that that's going to be the reason why we're getting this number. So it's really, can he outplay the matchup a little bit? Cam Johnson can be another decent play as well. As long as the minutes are there for him, he should be able to produce. He is someone that has been more productive lately since he's been traded to the Nets. And that's kind of it for like over for fantasy points. If we want to look at under, you know, maybe Jimmy Butler, who lately has really been going off. And so if we look at the Miami situation, they are still banged up. Okay, you still have Tyler Hero out. You still have Depot out. You still have Kyle Lowry out. So he should be able to get there. But it seems like a big number for Jimmy Butler. And I just don't know if I see him getting there. Like, this is still, the Nets got very strong defensively after the trade deadline. Okay, and I'm actually curious. Let's pull up the game over and under. Yeah, a very low over and under. So it wouldn't be shocking to see Jimmy Butler not get there. Like, he's going to have a good game, but it just wouldn't be shocking to see him not get to that fantasy point projection. I still think Mikal Bridges is fine. I personally still think Spencer Dinwiddie is fine as well. 31. Like, I still think, like, if we're loading up on the Nets players, I think 3 out of the 4 that are presented here have a strong chance to get over, if the issue would be being on the correct one. And that's going to be like the same thing for Mobley and Allen. I think one of those two will get over, just don't know which one. They have finally properly priced up the Houston players. Okay, so they had kind of been plays in which were, I don't want to say ones that we were going out of our way to play. I mean, they kind of were, but they weren't lock and loads. So now we have to at least think about it. So you guys will see that we are still getting that good prop line on PJ Washington. Okay, they took away LaMelo Ball. That's fine, but we're still getting a good one on Terry Rozier. And they kind of took away some of the other ones that we were getting. So we got Killian Hayes over 10.5 points. The issue is he's only projected to get 10.2, so not exactly one that we love. And if we look at some unders, Tyrese Halliburton under 9.5 assists, projected to get 9.4, so very close. We can see that's minus 132. Sengun under 5.5 assists, but he is projected to get 6.8. So we can see now as the day has developed where we are getting stronger fantasy point bets, I would say. I guess those aren't available in the morning, but I think we're getting some decently strong fantasy point bets. The extremely strong ones that we were getting earlier, at least NBA-wise, are kind of disappearing. I mean, there's still plenty of solid ones out there, like Caleb Martin, minus 126 to get over points. And with how banged up they are, you would kind of expect him to get that. 9.5 is the prop line for points, projected to get about 11.7. Let's look at the minutes projection because that'll sum it up. So yeah, projected to get about 5 more minutes. And so he is someone in this game, you know, I mentioned a difficult matchup, but 10 points, can he get there? I think so. Like, not terrible there. Zach Collins, I mentioned, like, if he's going to be getting the minutes, the production should be there for him. And so something like assist, I wouldn't mind. Like, we can see the increase in minutes is what we're chasing here. So 10 more minutes. Can he get 2 more assists? Maybe. I mean, that's tough. He's someone, like, I feel like there's some sort of way to bet him. I just haven't figured it out. Then if we just look at a couple of bets where the lines aren't matching up just yet, so like Vucevic, you know, this is a very solid one. So the average sportsbook line has this set at 22 guys for Vooch over points. Okay, so he is someone that the last 3 games has not been over, but PrizePicks is valuing him at 21.5, whereas the sportsbooks are valuing him about 22. Now he gets a good matchup tonight, and you could argue kind of the last 3 were matchups in which we really wouldn't be chasing. Brooklyn, Cleveland for sure, Orlando kind of sneaky good. And this is finally a good matchup against Indy that we could maybe potentially chase. So not a bad one. And obviously the sportsbooks are favoring it for one, minus 123 for over 22 points. So I believe if it was at 21.5, and let's see what DK Sportsbook has, because, you know, they're all different. But that's why I like to reference one as like a primary one. So yeah, they have this at minus 140. So it's just a very strong number that we're getting there for Vooch. And you guys will see, having projected to get 23.4. The issue, average is about 18 points. And so we're really just chasing the matchup. And as we can see with the matchup here, he's projected to get 21.54. If you do it based off of the prop line, based off of his projected minutes would be 24. So the projection isn't huge, but it is good enough. And so minus 140, that's a good number. James Harden as well, over points. Now he's only projected to get 16.8, so not exactly one I love, but slight discrepancy there. Okay. And then another one, Joel Embiid, over 30.5 points. Another slight difference there, a half a point. And let's pull them up on DK Sportsbook. Okay, so DK Sportsbook has it set at 30.5, minus 130. And so does PrizePicks. So the average Sportsbook line is valuing it a little bit higher. And so that's going to be kind of it for NBA as well. Let's just touch on a couple golf ones just real quick. Now, I will be touching on this tomorrow morning as well. I'm actually curious as to see how they adjust throughout the day with this. And I did put out a separate video for this as well. So if you guys want the deeper dive, make sure to check that out. But as it sits right now, if we just sort by edge here, it would appear, and this isn't guaranteed, like we don't know exactly how the course is going to play. Okay, so take it with a grain of salt. But it would appear that the greens and regulation props are going to be the ones that we want to attack. So looking at the players' average, and it should be hard to hit the green. Don't get me wrong. A lot of the players, their average greens hit is much higher than the average greens hit at this tournament, okay, at 12.3 on average. And last year was about like 11.5. So I think that's why they're drawing in the number at 11.5. But we can see if the player, you know, does his average, should be good. And part of the reason why these greens are more difficult to hit on average, and this is why I'm pulling in the event average from last year only, on typically speaking, this tournament has some tougher weather, which makes the greens more difficult to hit. So as it sits right now, the weather is not terrible. So thus players should be able to control their golf ball a little bit more. Okay. So I typically like to wait until after round 1 to really attack, but we are gaining a big edge here. Okay. So they did take away the greens in regulation, and the fairways hit props after round 1 last week as well. So we don't know what's going to happen there. I just want to get you guys that information. If you guys wanted to use it with one of the strong PrizePicks props that we're getting, you can do that. But that's going to be all for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, give a like and subscribe. If you guys want to, make sure to check out that the Underdog site, guys. It's I'm excited for it, okay? Because there are situations, and real quick, I'll pull it up real quick. Like we can see Tiger Woods, 73 strokes. If we go to PrizePicks, 74 strokes. And that might not seem huge, but in golf, that is huge. Guys, I was able to make $200 on Underdog last week by simply, well, I was using the prop board, but I was able to see some discrepancies between PrizePicks and Underdog and attack the stroke props based off of that. And so if we can find numbers that consistently do not match up, then we should be able to go ahead and attack via that way. So like another one that's not exactly matching up, I believe, is Jason Day. That line is set at 70, whereas on PrizePicks, I believe it's set at 70.5. Yes, so another slight edge there. Half a stroke is actually pretty huge, okay? And so what you could do is bet under on PrizePicks and then go over to Underdog and bet the over, okay? Very unique in that sense. All right, but that's all for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give a like and subscribe. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.